Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome to another map tour for Farming Simulator 17. Today we're looking at PGR Sliwno. This is a brand new map that's just come out for console. It has already been out for a little while on PC, but this was actually pushed live on the website last night, but didn't actually go live on the mod hub till this morning. So if you were trying to find it when you saw it go live on the Farming Simulator mod hub website and you couldn't, that's the reason why it got pushed live on the website a little bit earlier than it should have done, or they forgot to activate it on the actual mod hub, one of the two. But it's now out, and it's a big map. It's a very big map. It's not a particularly big file. It's only just over 300 megabytes. I think 309 megabytes in total, or somewhere around there. It is fully season supported, so it should have snow masks. It's got animals, very large fields, a huge yard, and quite a bit of starting equipment as well. So let's jump in and let's take a look at this new map. And this is where we start off here in this absolutely massive yard. Now you can see on the map this big square block that I'm kind of standing over, all the yellow dots in the map. That is our farmyard. It's huge. It doesn't look that big on the mini-map at first glance, but it's really easy to get lost in here. There's so much storage and so much stuff in this place that it's really hard to kind of find your way around the first time. And one thing I do want to point out at the very start, there is no silo on this map. It took me a while. I was driving around trying to find it, couldn't find it, and then I checked and realised there is no silo at all. Zero storage capacity. So even though this is a medium start file, so we've got medium prices, we have zero crops in stock. As you can see, absolutely nothing in storage because we have no storage. But having said that, you have such a large yard that you've got place to drop in silos wherever you want. And of course we do have placeable silos now. We have the BSM grain silo, we have the forage and chips silo, there's also the multi-storage silo as well, where you can do one for grains and one for forage and stuff as well. So let's just take a quick look at the kind of basic outline of this yard. This is an absolutely massive yard. So it's big. Look at the size of this thing. I mean, this is where we've started, just here, and we've got a fuel point coming up over here. All of this is just kind of a combination of storage and just scenic buildings, but it's massive, and we have all of our animals here at the yard as well. But what makes it a little tricky to kind of figure out exactly where you are is a lot of the buildings, they all look pretty identical, and we have big storage buildings as well. A lot of buildings like this, they do have working lights, which is kind of cool, as you can see. Nicely illuminated buildings, very big, deep buildings like this for storage. There are several of these dotted all over the yard, so you're not going to run short of places to store your equipment. There's just so much space. If we move around here, there are some really nice features on this map as well, which I do like, and I'll point those out as we come to them. That are just kind of static scenic features. They don't really necessarily serve any gameplay function, but I quite like them. This is one of them. I like this kind of little ramp here for almost like a vehicle repair bay. If you want to, kind of get underneath the front axle or the rear axle of your vehicle, drive it up on the ramps, and then you can go underneath and you can gain access to do some work on your vehicle there. It's a nice little thing, that. I mean, it's a simple little thing, but I like it. We pop in here and you might recognise this is the same shed that we saw on New Bartleshagen, and it has the same naughty photos that got it removed on New Bartleshagen. So it's entirely possible that we may well see this map disappear off the mod hub very briefly and then come back on again once the naughty pics have been removed. Who knows? But this is our workshop, as you can see. So this is where we can actually modify our vehicles, just in here, and I believe that we can possibly configure. No, I thought we might be able to configure outside as well. No, the configure point is, well, it might be. Let's drive a truck up and have a look a little bit later, see if you can actually park outside to configure. If we move along here, this is what I mean by so much storage. This entire building down here, again, split up into a few pieces, but it's more storage with working doors. You know, it's just, there's so much storage on this map that you're never going to have any issues trying to figure out where to put your equipment. It's absolutely overloaded with storage here at the main yard. I think this is the other side of those big sheds that we looked at the beginning, isn't it? Yes, there we go. So just this little quick lap around this section here, and you've seen just how much storage we have over here. And that's just a fraction of the storage that we get on this yard. There is so much of it. Here's the first part of our equipment here. We have 4 tractors on this map. Here are the first 3 of them. We have a Deutz Fahr Agro Star just here, a Case 1455, and we also have a Zeta Forterra just here as well. And then next to that we have our Axial Flow 1660 Combine from Case. And more storage just down here as well. And then we have another big storage building, and this one actually opens out onto the road as well. So if we open these doors up here, on the other side of this barn, you do actually have access to the main road just there. There are some gates dotted around the side of the farm. There's one there, there's another one sort of just off that little side bit there, which they can access the main road that way as well. But there's plenty of storage, as you can see. We've got another one of these really big, long storage barns in here. Like I said, and another one just here. You are not going to have any shortage of space to put your equipment in, and given the size of the fields, you're going to need to start upgrading to some big equipment, because otherwise it's going to take you forever to do anything. It's kind of mind-blowing just how big this map feels in terms of the field sizes, considering it's only a 2x map. You know, it uses its space really, really well. If I just open this gate up here, as I said, this is where you can access the main road just there. But also around here, we also have some Bga bunkers as well. Now, this isn't the Bga, these are just bunkers on your yard, and you have 3 of them. 2 on this side, and then if we go to the other end, there's another one just here as well. This is bunker number 3. More of these buildings here. Look for storage. I mean, just look how much. It's just an insanely big yard. It's so easy to get lost the first time you kind of wander around this farm trying to figure out where everything is. It's so easy to do that. I have a little bit more equipment over here. As you can see, we have a New Holland roll belt round baler along with the Ursus bale stacker just there. Kind of trying to work my way around so you can see everything. There's our 4th and final tractor. It's the New Holland 8410. We've already seen these 2 storage buildings. This is the other side of them. So over here you can see we have this New Holland here, complete with a front loader and a couple of different items for that. So we've got some bale spikes, a bucket, some pallet forks, a weight attached there, and we also have a couple more weights just over here, along with more storage. We have a ghosted Renault logo on the wall there. I don't know how long that will stick around, but that shouldn't be an issue. Like I said, I think the main reason the workshop is going to potentially get a flag is because of those artistic photographs, I think is the right way to describe them. And so we're back here to our truck. So we've kind of covered half of the yard so far, and you've seen just how much storage that we really do have. Got our fuel point for the farm just here. Let's jump in the truck. I'm going to do a slightly different way of actually doing the map tour from this point onwards once we've covered the yard itself, which is just huge. Over here, this is our refill points. So we come in here, you can see this is where we've got some sort of placed pallets of seed and some seed bags. Now all of these are just, you know, walk-through items, but these are actually keyed as fillable points. So you can see as we come up here, we've got these 2 check boxes on the outside, one on each door, and this is to demarcate, you know, which door does which. So this one here, you drive just inside this concrete slab section here, and this becomes your fill point for your cedars. And as you can see, we have 2 cedars here. We have the Great Plains small cedar here, and then the small Amazona cedar here for your root crops as well. And then this point here, this is marked for your fertilizer. So this will do both liquid and solid. You can see we start off with the Kverneland Exactor, and we also have the Amazona sprayer, the rear sprayer, just there as well. So that's that little shed there. That's our seed and fertilizer points. We move up here. We have yet more storage. You've already seen one side of this building. This is the other side of it. And we have this large sort of open bayed area here. Now this isn't a storage area as such, but there's nothing to stop you from putting something in there. You can see we have a gate that'll open and take us down to the sort of back end of the town and eventually to the main road. And over here, this is where we start to get towards our animals. So I haven't had much chance to play about with the pigs themselves, so I don't know everything for the pigs, but I believe, because there's nothing marked, I believe this is our food area and straw area. This appears to be the straw area, I think, for our pigs. So you tip in here, this will be where the straw comes. There's no pre-marked areas for like a food trough anywhere here, and it's such a big building, it's massive, that it's really hard to kind of figure where everything goes. This, as you can see, is the dialogue box for our pigs, and there is a water trough just here as well. There we go. There's our water trough. And if we go back to the entrance of the building where we first went into it, there was also a slurry point just there as well. Now I haven't seen a manure point, so I'm not sure if the manure is automatic to a specific location or if you have to manually muck them out. But here's our slurry point, as you can see. It may well be that that's a kind of area marked that you could potentially manually load your slurry, your manure into. Possibly, we'll have to see in the future. So here you can see this is the pigs over here that we've just looked at, and then as you come around here, you also have access over here as well, and these gates do open, so you can just kind of come in and wander around in here. You will get pigs kind of wandering around in this little bit here as well, and again you can see we can access this gate here, and another really long, really big building, as you can see. Just a very, very big pig building indeed. And then just the other side, this is our cows. It's really kind of squashed together a little bit. So this is the slurry point for our cows, as you can see. And then we have another really big cow barn. And this is actually kind of a multi-stage cow barn. So this is one of the food troughs. Now, it does give you a fill trigger, and I tried to unload some grass into here and it wouldn't let me do it. It popped the trigger, but it wouldn't let me load the grass in there. Didn't pop up an error message, it just said nothing at all, but it just wouldn't empty. Now if we follow this road down here, you can see we come to the milking chamber, and then if we go this way, we come to an almost identical version of the building we've just been in. It's the mirror of that barn over there. So again, we've got this long sort of channel along here, and this food trough did accept grass. So this is, like, I think the main food trough. I'm not sure if the other one actually works or not. And you can see that we do have switches on the doors, on the walls for these lights all the way along the building. And if we want to have a look at the other side of the milking chamber, then we can. There's a couple of milk tanks there. Obviously we can't use milk tanks on PC, but on console, but you can see even a couple of old milk pails just there as well. But yeah, a really, really big cow barn. It's kind of split into two sections, and one of them definitely accepts food. I'm not so sure about the other one. It popped up the trigger prompt but didn't actually do any unloading. And then if we move around here, open this gate, this is the actual dialogue box for our cows. So this is where we can actually manually load and unload them, and again you can open these doors up as well on this side. It's a really, really big farmyard, and as I say, it's easy to get lost. We've got a water trough just inside this complex for our cows here, and then I like this. This is kind of a little reminiscent of the Valley of the Old Farm. You've got this little area, this sort of pathway that goes underneath the railway, which we're going to look at in a second, which I actually really like. And then you come out to this really big open area, and this is the pasture for our cows, and it's a really good sized pasture, and the majority of them will just spend their time wandering around grazing in there. It's a really nice little pasture actually, and you can see on the mini map there it looks pretty big. It's a pretty big size. So there we go, that's the cows. Now again, I haven't found a manure point for the cows, and I think, although I'm not 100% certain, I'm not sure if this is a food trough or if this is a water trough, because you can see here it looks as though it's got a little bit of food in there. Now it won't accept grass, and I don't think, actually no, it won't. It's not that it won't accept it. It's not a water trough. It won't accept water. I did try and put some water in there, and obviously that is the water trough there. So that might be a trough dedicated for grass. It might just autofill along with these ones here. So far I know that this one will take everything, but the one on the other side didn't seem to take anything. So right, on with the rest of this giant yard. We have more buildings here, but these ones are static, so these doors don't open. You can't get into that shed there. We do have this really big open barn here, and this would be a great place for you to store bales, I think. You know, really good size in terms of height, width and depth. So really useful building there to be quite close to your animals that are going to need it. There is our New Holland again. If we come around this side, again, this is the other side of those buildings with the non-functioning doors, so you can't use these. We do have this kind of blob of manure here, which you can just walk through. Again, I don't know if this is supposed to be a manual fill point for manure, if this is just a little bit of scenery. It's not laid out to let you know exactly where the manure points are on this map, which is a little bit of a shame. And then we have more storage over here as well. We've got this really, really long sort of tunnel building here, as you can see. We've got two small metal tech trailers that are linked together just over there. And then another really long bit of storage over here. See what I mean? You'll never ever go short of storage on this map. And then we have a small 2-meter Kuhn plough, and we also have the Kuhn Kultimer 3-meter cultivator as well. And then the last of our sort of main equipment is over here. We have the Pottinger Euroboss loading wagon. We also have the small Pottinger Tedder, windrower. We have the Vicon Fanex, which is the small Tedder, and then we have this rear Pottinger mower as well. So that's our kind of equipment. I think that's everything. I don't think we've missed anything off equipment-wise. Over here is the sheep. So again, you can see it's all here at the main farm. And we've got our water trough just here, and a bit of a strange just stopping of the barbed wire here to allow, I think, for this to be placed in. And then the barbed wire doesn't continue on the other side. I've just noticed that. I didn't notice that the first time I looked at this map. That's a little... it's a shame, but it doesn't detract from the overall quality of the map. I mean, a lot of the buildings do have this kind of low-res feel to them in places, but overall, I'm very impressed with the presentation of this map, considering it's such a small file size and there's so much in this map. And this, believe it or not, this is the food trough for our sheep. So this is where you'll store where you'll tip your grass or your hay to feed your sheep, depending on what you want to feed them. So that is the food trough. And then if we just go around the back of this building here, this here is the spawn point for your wool pallets. So your wool pallets will spawn in that little checkbox just there. And then here, on the other side of this working gate, is the dialog box for your sheep. So again, nice and easy. You can load them in manually if you want to, and actually open the gate before you do so. And that kind of just about covers the yard. There's a little bit more to see, so I just need to find the truck. There it is, and we're going to go over to the train area. So it's, as I say, it's a really big yard, and it's really easy to get lost the first time you come on here trying to figure out where everything is or how to get to certain places. There is no water point on the main farm, but there is a water tower. You can just see it between the trees there. See if I can get you a closer shot of it, or a better angle of it. You can just see it there, poking out through the trees. Now, to get to that, you actually have to go on a little bit of a journey. So you have to sort of come down to this section here, follow the path over along this dirt road, up this dirt road, around here, and there's the water tower. And then you can then either go all the way up there, cross over, and then come back into the farm this way, or just kind of turn around and come back this way. There is no direct access water point at the farm that I've found. I'm going to just put that little proviso on that I've found. I haven't seen one, but it doesn't necessarily mean there isn't one. So we have a little weighbridge just over there on the entrance to this little section here. There's no grain transfer point as such. There's no place where you can tip grain and then have it unloaded automatically into your trucks, your train trucks. But what you have got is you've got this sort of section here. So if you want to put root crops into your train, then you can unload them into this. This is key to go onto this here. You could directly load a trailer onto this, or if you wanted to, then you could maybe move this around and have that hook up to the front of this, and then either or. So you could then tip on the floor, and that will get picked up and onto this. And then obviously you actually own these conveyors to start with. This will then be extendable, so you can choose which of the two trains you want to fill, which is, it's a basic feature, but it's a clever feature. I like the fact that we've been given this equipment to start with. It's nice to see that. I like that. So that is the main yard. That is this large area here. You can see obviously we've got plenty of space for you to store or place silos and forage and chip silos and buildings, whatever you want to put in here. There's loads and loads of optional places for you to actually try and do that. But what we're going to do now is we're going to jump into the trains. We're going to run the trains around the map, one on each side, and then when we've done that, then we'll start going off and looking at some of the specific locations. So let me just get the train up and running. And the trains have got good storage capacity on them, so you can see we've got a log car, and then we've got two sort of beet cars, a double length grain car, and then a standard grain car. That Bga bunker you can see coming up, by the way, that is not actually a bunker. It's Scenic. It doesn't have a tip icon, so you can stick stuff in there, but you can't actually use it as a bunker. There is no fill level. There's no compacting percentage or anything like that. It's just a static piece of scenery. But this is what I do like about this train line, is that it peels off the main line on these sort of sidings and then goes off and follows these borders around. And you can see, if we just pull the mini-map up, look at the size of these grass fields here. Absolutely huge. I mean, if you wanted a map where a big M would not feel out of place, this is the map for you. Look at the size of these grass fields. They're absolutely huge. You would probably need a big M just so that it wouldn't take you an eternity to do any mowing on this map. And then we come up to this little town complex. We will come and have another look at this in a little bit more detail once we've finished with the train. You can see we're going through one of the train sell points just here. This is actually the main sort of train sell point for you grains. There is another one on the other loop that just does root crops. And then again, having joined the main line, we kind of come off the main line again on this silo, and we run right along the boundary, the border of the map. And I really like this, the fact that we're running right against the edge of the border. Yes, I mean, it does mean that if you're zoomed out, you will see this weirdness with the map. But the fact that the train is right up against the edge, if you have the right camera angle, you don't notice, like this. And it also maximises just how much space you can use for your fields. So you're not eating into space by having that jumped in a fair bit and then having to split that into two separate fields, one either side. I like the fact that it's right up against the edge. You can see we've got a very small little forest area there, and then the water feature continues. And again, look at the size of the fields that we're working with here. Even the small fields are big. There's nothing really, really tiny on this map in terms of the field sizes. They are just huge. It's just a shame that I can't really zoom out properly and give you a good angle. Again, it's because we're right up on the border. And then we've got another little forestry area coming up just here, as you can see. There are a few of these kind of dotted around, and on the minimap you can see they're kind of located by these very sort of pale dirt areas. And then another monster grass field down here as well, field 12. Huge, great big grass field. Look at the size of this thing. Absolutely massive. And the other thing that having the train running along the edge of the map is that this only covers half the map. The other train covers the other half of the map. So it's a long journey, even though it's just half the map, because it goes right up to the very edges and just runs alongside them. And there are moments where you do get these wonderful little scenic bits where you got a few trees that have been planted on the border and then the other side of the track like this, and it just really does make a first person ride in the train feel a little bit more special when you have moments like that. And then we have this little weird little wiggle, and then we rejoin the main line, and there we go. That is the first half of the train network. The second half about to come up, and these barriers, as you can see, they come down automatically. We've seen those on other maps. The traffic does respect them, so the traffic will stop and wait for those barriers to clear before moving on again. They won't try and drive through even though the barriers are down, which is nice to see. No barriers on some of the roads, the sort of the dirt roads around the farm, only on the main roads. And here we are back at this sort of switchover point. So let's jump out of that train there and jump into this one here. My biggest disappointment with the trains is that they both run in the same direction. I would have liked to have seen the trains run in opposite directions, but you can't have everything, I suppose. There's that little water point I was telling you, and you can see the dirt track that kind of runs around the edge of that sort of grass field and the cow paddock over there. And then the other way is this long dirt track that runs all the way up here, back to this sort of crossing area just here. And again, it's not an official main road, so there's no signals on that one there. It's just some gates and kind of watch and hope you don't get hit by a train kind of thing. But again, you're going to see and get a feel for the size of these fields. I mean, that there is field 1. It's a big field, but that gives you a real size of, a sense of scale and scope of the size of that field. Here's field 2, and again, field 2 is not a huge field, but it looks massive. And once again, I mean, we're right up against the border, and with these trees either side of the rail line, it really does create this really nice kind of scenic feel. I do like it, I really do. Look at the size of these fields. I still can't get over how open and big the field sizes feel. So I'm going to slow down a bit here because we're coming up to the second sell point. Now this is our root crop sell point for the train. So you can see that this train here literally only has root crop bins, although you could put normal grain on there, there's no point. And then it kind of loops around the side. There is a manual cell box for road delivery in there as well. We'll come back and have a look at that again in a moment. And you can see that the train has been moving up and down a little bit along the way. It's not a completely flat map. There is elevation change all throughout this map. You can see a real good example of that just here, look. There is definite elevation change on this map. I mean, we're right on the edge here, right on the border, so you're not going to see it quite so much, but just looking back you can see that the way the ground is curving a little bit, and it becomes more pronounced in certain areas than others. But there is definite sort of up and down movement on your field here. There's definite changes in elevation. It's not tabletop flat, and you can see here again we've actually got a bit that does sweep away just here, and again you can just see the train itself is actually moving with those changes in height. And then as we pop over this little scenic area just over here where the traffic will rejoin us, we run alongside the road and another massive grass field, as you can see. Another water tower just over there. Big radio tower just here. Again, you can see how the hills are sloped on this, so you can see we are going up and down. We're not just staying tabletop flat, so there is a real real world kind of feel. Now I don't think this is a genuine location. Sliwno, if you type it into Google Maps, there are 3 villages in Poland that pop up as Sliwno. I haven't been able to match one of them to this, so I think this might be a fictitious map. But having said that, it may just be based, a real-world location that's been altered and amended, and I simply haven't spotted the sequence yet. So I can't say for definite if it's a genuine real-world location. I don't think it is, but I think it may well certainly take inspiration from a real-world location. As I say, there are 3 villages or areas in Poland that come up as Sliwno if you type it into Google Maps. So it could be loosely modelled on one of those 3, but I'm not 100% certain. And there we go, that's the train network. It's a really good, nice little network. One dedicated for beets and sugarcane, and the other one dedicated for everything else, essentially. So let's see, where do we want to go from here? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to drive south. We're going to head down to Mostery, which is the first sell point. Then we're going to cut up and head up to the top left corner. In fact, actually, no, we'll go out to the main bit. We'll go check the garden centre, go down to the shop and the Bga, go across to Mostery, and we'll also check out the Sawmill on the way, which isn't listed on the map, but is that little building on the top right corner of Field 17. That's the Sawmill. Then we'll head up to Suzuka, Polska. That'll be the first of the second of the train points that we saw, and then go all the way to the top right corner of the map, and we'll check out the animal dealership, the bakery, the spinnery, and the mill. So let's find our way out of here. Can I cut through this way? Yes. So again, we've got this absolutely massive yard. We start with 3 fields. Field 22, Field 13 and Field 19, and we have no crops on any of them. Obviously 22 is a grass field, 13 and 19, if you're starting without seasons, then they start just as cultivated fields, so you have nothing planted, you have to grow it yourself. And obviously if you're playing with seasons, well, it'll be cultivated and need ploughing anyway. So let's head down here. So this is the garden centre just here. There's not a lot to it, but again, plenty of open space for you to do some stuff with this if you want to really kind of make it up a bit. So we've got some big storage areas over here, as you can see. Plenty of space to put equipment. Got some old rusted out greenhouses that are no longer in use. It does have a real dilapidated feel to it. In a lot of places on this map, it just feels broken down and not used that much, or just certainly not maintained. And then here is our sell point here. So this is, as I say, garden centre. Now in garden centre, all we can sell here is wood chips and then straw, grass and hay. So this is kind of like our barn, but we'll also take wood chips as well. This is, as far as I know, the only place that does take wood chips, because the sawmill, as I think, will only take logs. So let's head on down here, heading south. We're going to take a drive down this road here until we come to this little village area just here. This is quite a nice little village area actually. So it's all just static scenery, nothing you can interact with. We've got a few people just walking along through here, but a few little houses here and little play pits and stuff, a little church. And then as we drive out of here, rejoin the main road. This is the Bga just here. So we'll just pop the gate on the Bga. And as we drive in, we've got this little dip just down here. And then here are our 2 bunkers. So 2 really good big-sized bunkers with working street lights or spotlights, which will come on when it gets dark, as you can see. This is our digestate tank just here, this kind of hole in the ground with some planks over the top of it, rather than a standard, traditional tank that we would normally see. And then we have our shredder just here to actually sell stuff. And as with most BGAs, this will take the standard stuff, so it'll take silage and it'll take manure and slurry as well. Of course, you can always sell some bales here as well if you want to. And then we actually have some storage here as well. So you can see we can open this up. We've got a little small building here, no lights in here, and this door does not open on the side, but both of these two doors do roll open. So you have a little bit of storage, and then we also have a fuel point just here as well. So it's quite a nice little BGA. It's pretty compact. You've got a lot of space in some respects. You could potentially put a little bit of extra vehicle storage in here, although why would you need to with the sheer amount of space that's available already on this map? And the fact that we do actually have a small building here to put a couple of vehicles in as well. So next door is the store itself. So this is where we can do our purchasing, and then we've got a little checkbox around the side here, as you can see, for our vehicle customizations, also returning and selling, leased and purchased equipment, just there. Now the reset point for this farm is back at the main yard, which is probably a good thing, because there's not a lot of space just there inside that building. It is pretty small, and the yard is just absolutely massive, so it kind of makes sense for that, I suppose. And then we've got a really nice drive along here as we head along to the sawmill. Just hop over just there, and this is the sawmill just here. So as we drive in, you see we've got some wood planks and some long logs kind of dotted around, and here's our checkbox here, our sell point for our logs themselves. We've got a little bit of storage space here as well. You can see with these quite tall buildings just here, some really good storage bays. Nothing in here, that's just a static piece of scenery. And I did wonder, and maybe somebody could check this out for me, but I did wonder if maybe you might be able to put some wood chips as a sell point in here, because it had these yellow check marks on the side here, but it's not listed as a sell point in the store, so I don't know if that actually works, and I don't have any wood chips to test. So if somebody does want to try that and let me know, that would be fantastic. You can let me know in the comments, please. I would truly appreciate that. So back on the road, we're going to head over to Mostery, which is our next sell point here. There's that radio tower we passed when we're in the second train. And here's our entrance point just here. Pop the gate open. Oh, getting honked at by the car for blocking the road there. And again, it's got this really old, broken down kind of feel to it. And then this is the sell point just here. So Mostery, as you can see, is a sell point for root crops. So we can sell potatoes here, and we can sell sugar beets here. There's actually some pretty good prices for a medium there, 670 and falling. That's a very good potato price. So this might be a great map for doing root crops, because you've got a really nice price at 670 there. No storage in this location, so those are not working doors. They are just scenic doors there. So from here, where do we go from here? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to head over the railway bridge just here. Now these dirt tracks, these are really cool and they look great, but they are really bumpy when you get up to speed, so you need to be careful. If you're bombing along here in a pickup truck, it starts out okay, but you just get slightly offline, and the faster you're going, you will end up getting bounced, as I'm probably going to end up showing you in a minute. It's really easy to lose control when you're going down here at speed. You can just get thrown completely into the air if you're not paying attention, you're not careful. So from here we're going to head all the way up to Suzuka, Polska in the top left corner, but I'm going to take a little detour along the way first of all. And I remember I said about that water tower earlier, if you want to get to it, this is the split point you take. You follow it around the side of our cow paddock there, and then it'll bend around to the left, and that's how you get access to the water tower that I pointed out at the beginning of the tour. But what we're going to do is we're going to head along this way. You can see we've got another little forestry area popping up just here. Again, marked with that kind of light brown kind of colour on the mini-map. So you've got a nice little forestry area in here for you to cut down a few trees. A little pond in there as well. I don't know if that's genuine water that you can collect for free. I think it might be, but I couldn't say for 100% definite. I haven't tried it. So again, if someone wants to try it and let me know in the comments, then please do and let me know. It'd be awesome. You can see what I mean. They're getting bounced around. It's really easy to lose control. These trucks aren't built for roads like this, really. And then we get a nice concrete slabbed road over here, which then does follow alongside the train tracks. So we're going to follow this all the way up to that sell point that we looked at. Now, with the train sell point here, this is for sugar beets and sugarcane. So this is actually a sugar factory up here. And it's only listed as one sell point, even though there are two sell point locations with two slightly different names. They both sell this, or both accept the same crops. So there is the sell box there for manual delivery. So you can sell sugarcane and sugar beets in that box just there. And then nice sort of static wheel loader just there. If we were to just quickly nip around the corner, this is the Railyard version over here of that cell box that we drove through, just there underneath the the right hand from where we are, the right hand line I think it is. Yes, there you can see the checkbox there, and that is for your train to deliver sugar beets and sugar cane. So as you saw, that second train only has the sugar beet boxes, which you can put sugar cane in. So that is that sell point explained there. You know, both road and rail access for your sugar products, because it is essentially a giant sugar factory. So next we're going to head along the bottom of field 1 along this concrete path all the way along here. We'll go past that fake BGA that we saw, that fake bunker. It's got a little bit of that sort of transparent, or I say transparent, that non-collision manure blobbing around inside it as well, as you'll see in just a moment. It's just here. So as you can see, if we jump out, there's no fill level, there's no compacting level popping up in the help box and the control panel, and we've got more of this kind of gloopy stuff. It's not a genuine bunker, it's just maybe an old disused bunker that no longer functions, perhaps, I don't know. But it's just there as basically it looks to be a piece of scenery at this point. So from here, go over the railway line, and we're coming along the top end of our town. So this is our this is our grass field that we own, field 22, and you can see that this path here, that will take you back to the farm, and it also kind of takes you around the back of this little town area here. Now again, it's just a little scenic town area. There's no real thing to interact with over here. Got some stop symbols. We'll just have a quick look in here. So we've got a basketball court, but I don't think there's a ball here. And we've also got some goalposts as well, so it's kind of a dual purpose court here. Some garages, some clotheslines, the backs of these little apartment buildings over here, some small houses, a little church, and what is that little tower just there? I wonder what that's for. I really have no idea. Right, so moving on with the tour. Now we're going to head over to the sort of top right section of the map. So we're going to look at the animal dealership and also the last remaining sell points as well. Now, I did try and type Dushniki into Google Maps as well, and that came out nowhere near one of the Sliwno villages. So I tried using that as another way to locate where I was, and I couldn't find it. So I don't know if, again, as I say, if it's just taken certain parts of Poland and then kind of smushed them together to make a custom map. I think that's what's happened, but I might be wrong. This is our chickens. You have to hop the fence, it doesn't open. but this is where our chickens are. I don't really tend to bother with chickens much anymore because they are essentially worthless these days. You know, I mean, you have a small number of chickens that lay a very small number of eggs per day that are worth very little money. It takes you years before you can collect enough eggs just to be able to make, you know, $10,000. So I never tend to bother with chickens anymore, but they are there if you do want your chickens, and they're right next door to the animal dealership. So you drive in here. Here's your dialogue box, so you can purchase your animals either like this and then send them directly to your farm, or, you know, for those that like to roleplay a little bit or just like to collect them themselves, then obviously you can park your trailer there and then collect them and take them back to the farm manually. You see, we have got a nice little big selection of bales over here underneath the tarp. Nice little Scenic edition over there. And that is the animal dealership, so not much left to show you. Just get back onto the main road, jump over the water. Again, I haven't checked the water to see whether you can use it for free. I would imagine you probably can. Most maps you can. There are very few that don't let you. And then over here we have a real flurry of activity over here. You've got a little side access over there. I'll show you where that goes to in just a second. But this is the main entrance to this point just here. And this is the first of our train sell points that we saw. Now this is the grain sell point for your trains. Got a little broken weight bridge there that doesn't actually work, that weight bridge. It's just permanently jammed on 979. You can park on it, you can do whatever you want, nothing happens. But if we pop over here, past these static bales, you can see we have a static cell box here. Now this doesn't actually do anything, this is just scenery as far as I can tell. You can see we've also got a loading point there for the train, which again is just static. No trains ever pop up on that part of the line. It's this inside track that the trains come to. Around here you can see we have a fuel bin, and then there's the gate. That's that second point that I showed you, that first little offshoot before we came into this location. That's sort of like a secondary access just there, as you can see, with a fuel bin. And then just here is the actual sell point for your grains if you're coming by truck, or by road. So you can see here, this is actually no, this isn't the grain sell point. This is the spinnery. Getting mixed up. This is where you sell your wool. So you can sell your wool just here at the spinnery, and the actual train box just there. This here is where you sell your grains. So this is, as you can see, Maplefield Mill. So it'll accept pretty much everything. So all of your grains, all of your root crops, and your row crops, they all go through there. The only thing it won't take, obviously, is, you know, things like the manure and slurry and stuff. But yeah, that is your second train sell point. So one on each loop, one for root crops only, one for everything. Then the actual delivery point by road for your grains, your main grain sell point, is the bakery, which is here, literally the other side of the road. We just drive in here again, little weighbridge on the way in. This is your sell box here for the bakery. So you drive in here, drop everything off, and that's all your grains. As you can see here at the bakery, it accepts everything but sugarcane essentially. So you have two main kind of sell points, one by road, one by rail, and they're both up in this top hand corner here. And then we also have quite a big forestry area, as you can see as well, up in this area. Now there is an access point just over the road, and we do have what I thought was a secondary farm just here at Mulgerry, but it's not. It's actually looks like a milk plant in some respects. You've got milk bottles and milk pails outside, but there's no buildings in there that you can interact with. You can open the gates and go in, but you can't do anything when you're in there. So it's just a bit of scenery. But in here you can see we've got a little bit of mud, which I really like. Our truck kind of gets stuck in little patches along here. That's not just a solid piece of ground. That's really cool. I really do like that. So you got some of this, it looks solid and some of it is, and then you got other bits that look solid and aren't, and you just get kind of wedged and stuck a little bit. So if you want to have a little off-roading experience, you can come down here. I mean, you don't get stuck, but you know, it's it looks cool. It's a nice little feature, I think. And then as you can see, we've just got this really nice little nature area over here, which you can also come in and do some deforesting in as well, chop down some trees. So there we go, that is PGR Sliwno. That's pretty much everything you need to see. You get one really big field in field 13, one reasonably small field in field 19, and one good sized grass field in field 22. You get a lot of decent starting equipment, but you won't get a water trailer, and more importantly, there is no silo on the map, so that is something you do need to think about right from the very off, is where you want to do, what do you want to do with your grains. Do you want to sell them as soon as you make them, or do you want to build and put down some storage of your own so that you can then add to it, you know, and actually save it for when you want to sell it, rather than being forced to sell it as you harvest it. It's a fun map. It's a really good looking map considering it's a very small file size, and performance wise I haven't had any real issues with it. I mean, I am on a Pro rather than a regular PS4, so I don't know if that's going to cause any major difference in terms of frame rate performance over a regular console, but I like this. I might well do some live streaming on this map, I think, and I think this is perfect for you know, doing, if you want to do a theme farm, for using, you know, the Zeta equipment and using the Rostel Mash equipment, and if you want to throw a couple of other bits in there, you could also throw in, you know, the what is it, the Kirovitz tractor as well, just to throw in some other little bits and bobs. Given the size of the fields, I thought initially that this might be a great map for Farming Classics, until I realised just how big the fields were, and then I realised probably not. But you never know, a couple of little bits from the Farming Classic pack might work quite well, including like the loading wagon. I do love that loading wagon from the Farming Classics pack. So yeah, there's a couple of bits of equipment in there that might work quite well on this. So you have things that you could potentially do if you wanted to run a theme farm or a very old rustic kind of feeling farm. Big fields to work with, and a really nice picturesque location, you know. So this map gets a big thumbs up from me. I like it, and like I say, I might well do some live streaming on this. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with another video very soon.